Alright, sorry, I took a Google. So, I don't know, am I supposed to say anything? Am I supposed to ask me any questions? I think I've been talking about this film so much, it's better to get into Q&A. If there are any questions, anybody, I'll be happy to answer. No questions? Wow, we're done. Huh? Sorry, yeah.
I just want to know, like, how long will it take to write the...
So I wrote the story around. I wrote it for like in time lapses. I wrote it in 2 years. The story of it, but the screenplay we had to write very fast because I pitched the story to John in around December 2016, and he jumped on it. Said, let's make it fast because parallelly some other filmmakers were working on it. So it was actually like a nuclear test for us. So in 4 months, that's why I got Simon and Sayukta on board. 3 of us wrote. So in 3 experienced writers, I think, and if the story is already cracked, it is possible. So we were getting out 1 draft every month. So we finished it in 5 months. There were 4 drafts, and then we went with the 4th draft. But yeah, it overlapped the prep by 1 month. So the last draft was still being written when the prep started. Yes, sir. You are the question. Thank you. No, so I never think about. I feel that experience happens when you attempt something, when you try something. Even when I made my first film, I had no experience of assisting anyone when I did Terrible Lion. So similarly, when I pitched it to John, I think he just saw the confidence because till that time I was doing comedies. I had never done a drama. Though I love drama, and I'm from National School of Drama where I did theatre. I was doing drama only. I've never done comedy theatre. I don't know. I mean, it's for me, genre skipping is okay and normal. But you're right because people tend to put you in a box. But John somewhere had this confidence that I'll be able to pull it off, and I had a lovely support of the team out there. And I loved every moment. Like after doing this film, I started conceiving more dramas that I want to work on. It was fun. Primarily, the research was fun. There was a lot of research in it to try and put everything in 2 hours. It's very difficult. But I think somewhere after making this film, if I have to do a similar kind of a genre, I think I'll be better because I learned while making this film about many things in my own craft. So yeah, it was fun.
Do you consider this as a science film?
It's a film. No, see, that's what I was trying to say yesterday also. That in feature film, at least, when you're making films to entertain people or tell stories to people. It's not a science film or an engineering film or a legal film. It's a story. Let me complete. It's a story which is important. What are you trying to say? Then where it is set up makes it based on science, based on legal. Like a courtroom drama. It's not about the legal procedure. But once you are in a legal procedure, then you have to do your research to try and show it as well as possible. That's why it's called a courtroom drama or a legal film. So this is not a science film. It's a film which is set up where you will see a lot of science is involved. There's a lot of covert operations and intelligence is involved. Politics is involved. Patriotism is involved. So basically, I believe in Rasa theory. I don't know people who are kind of aware of Natya Shastra, which is the Indian thesis on stagecraft. There are 9 rasas. So this one for me was a Veer Ras. So I believe in rasas, and Veer Ras is very absolute and straight, shamelessly patriotic. Shamelessly, it's about what the main character is feeling. The main character out here is very patriotic. He's just doing everything for his country because he wants to follow in his dad's footsteps. So from his point of view, the narrative is drawn. And now because what he wants to do is influenced by science. And on 2 dimensions. One is the nuclear science, the tests, and second is the whole space science of satellites and how to evade a satellite. So they are, because of those 2 things, I think people with scientific minds will find it interesting. But if you ask me if it's a science film, no, it's again a human film. It's a film about this guy who wants to do his country proud, which is going through the worst phase of its political environment when USSR had just broken off. If you see, the first line was put for today's generation to understand where we stood, not to legitimize or say that nuclear testing is good, but the reason why we had to do that test in that political environment was very different from where we are today. So yeah. You can say it's a celebration of science. You can say it's a celebration of human spirit. You can say it's a celebration of patriotism and the country itself. Because I myself is I'm a patriotic person. My dad was in Air Force, so that's why when I'm making a film, I have to be pure to my emotion. And I always say that filmmakers have to take a stand. Either you, in your film, when you're making a social commentary, you're against something or you're for something. I was asked immediately after release, in the pre-release time actually, and after release also by a few people that, are you advocating nuclear explosions? I'm not. But that was a tool that India had to submit to at that time because that was a political reality. I'm okay to give up nuclear weapons if America gives it up and other countries give it up. Why should India just do that? I don't understand that logic of it. So yeah, but I think it's a celebration. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Can I give a just analogy of this film?
Mm-hmm.
For instance, there is this hostel, where there is a girls' hostel, where there is a boys' hostel, and there is a surveillance camera. And few of the boys decided that we will, cross this surveillance and we enter the girls' hostel and fetch the man. And they do it, and for that, they get some heroism among themselves. And the outcome is, now the surveillance camera was taken in and 24 hours security was happening. So now if you go back to this particular incident that happened 20 years back, the nuclear explosion that time was a political aim of a political party, which was again during, this is Gandhi's time also.
74.
Immediately during the emergency.
No, it was before the emergency.
Yes, after that the emergency also started. Now, in that way, after 20 years when you are making this film, and are you trying to see the heroic activity, patriotism? What are we talking about here?
So, I don't believe.
Because, first of all, what did the country gain by doing it? Safety? Because immediately this was followed by Pakistan, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you know, Mr.
Yeah, of course.
Kargil started.
Mm-hmm.
The whole Kashmir issue started where 4,500 people died.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was when it comes to safe issue, did it stop war? No, it didn't.
I'll tell you.
And what else did it do?
No, I'll tell you what my point of view is. First of all, the analogy of boys' hostel and girls' hostel doesn't quite fit out here. Because this tests were, I'm sorry to use the word, but the tests were not done for terror. The tests were done because of it's not done for terror. It's not done for a temptation. It's not a girls' hostel, boys' hostel analogy. I think it's completely wrong. Number two, that's what when we did the research about the film, whether it's any political party, and you quite rightly said that Indiraji also did it, but she called it the peaceful nuclear explosion because they didn't want criticism. But what happens is that when you have, like people say Kargil war, but what was the reason that Kargil remained on the border? It never became a full-blown war. The reason is that both of them had this weapon. And Pakistan already had the nuclear weapons. CIA, let me finish. CIA basically published a paper in 2017 or 18 saying that China had already given them nuclear weapons. India, on the other hand, had not taken nuclear weapons from any other country. We had an indigenous CTBT and all that were hanging on our heads. Yeah, it's already there. So, and India didn't sign CTBT for this precise reason. Yeah, this reason. No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. If you let me finish, let me talk about it because I completely subscribe to that time's vision. So I will defend it. So basically, we did not sign the CTBT. Can I complete? Sorry?
Which time you support?
98, the vision. That's what the story is set in, no?
Because it started in 1974.
No, no. 1974 they did the peaceful nuclear explosion. After that, for many years, because they needed more tests. See, what Abdul Kalam was trying to do, Shri Abdul Kalam was saying that I need to do more tests because nuclear science is a fairly complicated thing. They had to do some sub-kiloton explosions because you have to, if you're trying to fit a nuclear device in a small container, in a small bomb, which is called the portable nuclear device, then you need to do sub-kiloton tests. You need tests. You need to do. Listen, this is a Q&A. This is not a debate. Can I finish? You're not letting me finish. So I'm saying that it's not my vichardhara and your vichardhara. You ask a question, let me answer. So I'm saying that so he needed more tests. The whole scientific community wanted more tests, but because after the PNE, the peaceful nuclear explosion, which happened in 1974, Canada and America they stopped exports of nuclear science and technology to India. Even the fuel, the cryogenic fuel. That's why you'll see that we didn't have too many nuclear power stations after that. So there was hardly any activity. India stopped at that time. When Atal Bihari Vajpayee came, usse pehle Narasimha Rao in 95 tried to do the same test. Reason being, after Soviet Union's collapse, India found itself kind of isolated and alone. We didn't have a great friend anymore to protect us. China was developing its nuclear arsenal rapidly. America, of course, had it. Pakistan was importing from China, and we still thought that we were not ready. So if there was an eventuality, actually Pakistan had an upper edge from a nuclear weapons perspective. So that's why at that time it was considered that for national security, let's do it. Now, after that, of course, Pakistan, within a few days, they didn't have to do anything. They had those weapons already, which they had taken from China. They exploded it. They also declared themselves. After that, when Kargil happened, we always see Kargil. There are two perspectives to see it. That Pakistan, got courage to attack India. But the thing is that it remained a border war ever since. Why is it that despite severe issues, India and Pakistan do not attack each other on that level, and we never entered into a war? And I really feel that that's the biggest deterrent. And that's what even Imran Khan today stands and says that, are we prepared for nuclear war? Because he understands that. You cannot afford a war today because there is nuclear deterrence. That's what kind of sustained the whole world during Cold War. Cold War era was a very dangerous time, but both America and Russia had weapons, and so they did not. So that's my point of view. You can have a different point of view, but that's where it is. Sorry, sir. Yeah. No, your question is done. Yes, sir. Yes, that dilemma always remains when you're making a film which has nuclear science, rocket science, and all of that. Now, whether you dumb it down or you dilute the information, that's not correct. You don't want to do it as a filmmaker. You want to convey as much as possible. But at the same time, what happens is that if it is too scientific words, if you see, I've tried to simplify certain words. Like a scientist will not say hydrogen bomb; it's a thermonuclear device. But I understand that I'm talking to the audience, and if I use that terminology, they might not understand what I'm talking about. Similarly, when they're talking about the satellite, I've used some simplified words, which are more layman words, which a scientist actually will not use. But I'm not making the film for a few scientists. I'm making it for the main audience and trying to convey the science behind it. So sometimes you have to simplify words and simplify certain things. And also, if you see, there are two scenes basically out there, three scenes. One in the classroom when he explains the Pokhran range, on the blackboard. Two scene 56 where they put it on the model and what is going to happen. And then within scene 56, the satellite orbit thing which he explains. We did those scenes, we wrote those scenes, and we staged them, trying to convey this. Otherwise, you don't need to. So the idea is not to compromise the scientific information, but the idea is also to try and make it more palatable. So
thank you, Abhishek. Will you please now I request our guest of the day, Dr. Vikas Sinha ji, to please come on the dais, and our guest Abhishek ji, please also join the. Please.
Can I take one question?
No. It is your session. It is your session. Because you please join. Experts are joining. Professor Sheena is coming.
We are extremely honored to have among us today Dr.
And we have General Ashok Das Gupta ji.
who is world-renowned nuclear physicist. And I would like to also welcome on stage General Ashok Das Gupta. General Ashok Das Gupta. Okay. He has worked with Dr. Kalam and he was related to the Pokhran blast. So now we will open for a Q&A session
And
and a discussion with the audience. Now I will request Dr. Vikas Sinha and Mr. Ashok Das Gupta to speak.